The computer's a little slow today. Here we go. Going live. Wonderful. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to the Women's Wellness Network, and welcome here to our guest today. Wendy, hello. How are you?
I am good. Thank you for having me, Tammy. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. Every day is a great day, if, in my opinion. We can have bad moments, but to me, there are no bad days. So
Yeah,
it's all good, right? So
right.
why don't you start off by telling us where you are in the world?
I am sitting here in windy London town, um, feeling distinctly autumnal today, actually, I have to say. But, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's been a lovely summer so far. So, yeah, that's where I am today.
Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, I like that. I love when that crispness comes in, the autumn starts to roll in, and you can tell, the days of the warm summers are kind of, they're drawing nigh, and we better enjoy
Yes.
them while we can, right? So, welcome here. It's really lovely to meet you. And why don't you just start off by introducing yourself a little bit and letting people know what it is that you do in the world?
Sure. Well, I have for the last 35 years actually had a career in the media, which continues to this day. I worked as I sort of started out as a TV and radio presenter. Lots of fun running around interviewing pop stars and movie stars. And that kind of developed into doing more in the way of movie criticism, which I do to this day. So cultural criticism has kind of been my thing. But I decided, well, I was going to say to go back to school, but I never actually got an undergrad degree, at sort of aged 18, because I was already up and running in this very exciting media career. But in my early 40s, I did an undergrad in psychology, which was utterly fascinating. And I did it part time, so it took me 6 years. So I really got to, go down the wormholes of research and really enjoy it. And got to the end of it and went, I'd like to do some more. So then I did a master's in cultural inequalities, and I tied that very much to my work as a film critic. And again, that continues, and that turned into a podcast called Open to Criticism, which has already been nominated for a couple of awards since I launched it last year. Thank you. And then I really had this big calling to kind of draw in what I did in psychology again, to tie that into my own experience, being here in midlife, having gone through challenges like people do by the time you get to this age, but also gone through some amazing shifts and amazing, just really finding and harvesting the treasures that sit underneath those challenges, which I think, it is very important, isn't it, to kind of see that. So that's really what drew me to deciding to train as a coach. And I was very aware that I wanted to do some kind of coaching that really recognized the very specific problems that women face, the very specific issues in terms of generational and historical messaging, and the stuff that to this day really kind of ties us up in knots, I think, once we hit challenges. So I was so excited to find the work of Dr. Claire Zammit, who does women-centered coaching. It's evidence-based. She's sort of come up with this framework after 20 plus years of coaching and training women and doing her own dedicated academic research. That really spoke to me. And I've been training in that for a year, and I have been coaching clients in the past 4 or 5 months in it. So I find myself in a really interesting position in life with a really interesting portfolio career. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that oh, yeah, just thinking of all those little facets that you can integrate into your work. And I think, right, by the time we get to our 40s or 50s, we're starting to realize, oh, we have so much wisdom, we have so much experience that we've gone through. And yeah, going back to school for something specific that gives us an understanding, I guess, even better of who we are as people. And then being able to weave that into what you do already makes it unique and special and interesting. I think yeah, it's those little nuances that make us individual and make us attractive, I guess, to other people who, are maybe they've just done the talk therapy, or maybe they've just tried going with a coach, or whichever. But to have somebody who's a little bit unique makes it super interesting. So, can you explain to us a little bit, like, how would you work with a client?
Well, I think that the key difference when it comes to women-centered coaching is first thing to say is that it is very much very real transformational coaching. I know that the word transformational gets bandied about willy-nilly, and I've come to understand what that really means. And obviously, it means, real identity shifts. This is really changing and fundamentally addressing ways that we see the world, and obviously pinning down the ones that aren't serving us. Perhaps they're not serving us now, but they used to, and some that, possibly for the whole of our lives, they've been getting in our way. So for me, what I love about this is instead of kind of moving too quickly into action and moving too quickly into surface level choices and shifts in a client's, life and environment, this is really about digging deep. And I think what I love about this as well, having myself done therapy, a couple of times when I was younger, which was very important. And I think for a lot of us, it's a very kind of necessary part of our own journey into kind of really connecting with ourselves. But I found, certainly for myself, it was this whole thing of, yeah, well, I understand. I know the story now. I know where the issues were and why they came about and how they show up. What I want now is something that really takes me forward into the future. I want something that means that I literally reach back only for stuff where I go, oh yeah, I kind of need to know where's this? Bring it into the present to then, to have a real motivation to look at it with some real momentum, because I'm really aware that, again, this whole thing of you get to midlife, you do have a lot of self-awareness a lot of the time. You do have that clarity about where you come from, what your story is. But for me, then it's about working with people who are stuck now, but motivated highly to kind of move into a new space. And that's kind of key with coaching, isn't it? That's the real necessary part, because the work is done by the client. So for me, it's finding those people who are kind of at that point of going, I'm fed up, or I can't do this anymore, or I think I've kind of neglected who I am, or oh God, I'm starting to realize that I've got this real inner tension because I've, suppressed these yearnings that I have. So it's kind of, it's that aspect of stuff. And as I said, the key thing with this coaching is it really digs into that and transforms. It locates what's going on, it locates the associated stories, it transforms them into new beliefs and new stories going forward. And that's when then the pathway forward can really be mapped out. But as I said, I think in a lot of other coaching, not all coaching, and I can't profess to know all aspects of coaching, but for me, this was integral, because this addresses, as I said, that generational and historical messaging that is deep embedded in us. It's through us like a stick of rock, isn't it? If we're not careful.
Right. Yeah. That's where we get stuck. It's like, it's running up against a wall. It's like you get to that point and sometimes you don't know how to move forward. You don't know what you want to take with you from the past, what's going to be valuable, what is even what is worthy to put in your future. Because yeah, sometimes we don't want to make the same mistakes, we don't want to go down the same roads, we don't want to have some of the same experiences. So yeah, finding somebody that you can connect with who really understands what that looks like, what it could be like, and having done the work yourself, of course, makes all the difference in the world. I believe it's you know when you know what it's like, when you've been there and you can feel those things yourself. It's not coming from a book, it's coming from the heart. And that's, I think, the only way to truly connect and to truly be uh, in relation in a coaching practice is to have that role, that communication, that I really care about what's going to happen to you. And the person sitting there going, wow, this person, it matters to them whether I make it or I don't, or how I can step forward. It's not just a job that they're doing for me.
Absolutely. And I think that whole thing of modeling, it's recognizing that you become a model, a role model, that you are modeling behavior, you are modeling that pathway forward. And I couldn't, in all confidence, I couldn't sit there and try and tell somebody, because obviously coaching is not really telling people, it's much more asking questions and getting them to identify it. But still, I don't think I would feel confident guiding someone forward if it wasn't a case of me knowing that I've done that and I know what's involved. Because I think also what's important in that and in the coaching relationship, of course, is that sometimes you do have to push. You're going to have to push through resistance. Your client's going to have to trust you, and you're going to have to trust that you are pushing from a place of authenticity and from a place of experience. And I think that is key. So that's why the training plus the life experience really all comes together. And I see the power of that when I'm working with clients, because it means that that kind of container that we sit in is incredibly strong. And, there's trust and faith on both sides.
Right, right. Okay, could you give us an example of, you told us the kind of people that might come to you, um,
Yeah.
like an example of some kind of like modality that you would use or some kind of way in which, would be the first thing that you would do when you connected with a new client?
Right. Well, I mean, like any process, you're going to have an intake. There's an intake process to really kind of look across, even though obviously people tend to get in contact and they know that there's some specific thing that, is really an issue. Common things obviously are things to do with redundancy. And as we know, far too many incredible women get let go of in companies in midlife. There they are with this huge experience. But as we know, the glass ceiling remains. Um, so in that kind of instance, often I do find that often women in that position will not move towards a coach actually straight away, which I
Mm,
think obviously is connected to the whole thing that competent women do not seek help. I can say that from my own experience. It took me a very long time to really, there you go, hands up. I think there's probably a lot of hands up when it comes to this. Because, right, we're kind of the message has been, hasn't it? And we get
mm,
that in so many different ways that are woven into the fact that our job is to look after others and to care for, we are the nurturing ones. So that focus on ourselves gets removed. And the idea is that we're kind of put at the end of the queue and we just got to sort stuff out for ourselves. So often women will come to me and they have done a lot of trying to say in the case of redundancy are doing a fantastic job and a very thorough job of trying to get back into the workplace.
right.
The months go by, the challenges arise, the algorithms overlook their CVs because of their age and all, as we know, all manner of things, and then they start to get worn down,
Hmm.
which is, of course, understandable. So confidence issues can really kick to the fore. So for me, obviously, if someone comes with that, then they've got something very specific that they want to work with. They want to get back out in the workplace. But for me, what I think the powerful role that I hold for women, particularly in that situation, is to expand the way they're seeing opportunity at this point
Mm,
in their life. Because again, there can be a sense of, I just need to get back to where I was.
right.
But actually, is that really what you want? Is that really what you need? And what if you flip it around and go, wow, this, when will I get the chance again? Especially if you've been given a redundancy package. When
Right.
will I get the chance again to go blank sheet of paper? Who do I want to be? What excites me? So with this kind of stuff, it's very much, the real, my role here from the get-go is teasing them into expansion.
Mm,
And once we've expanded them, then it's kind of like, well, why do you not connect to that? Why, in what ways are you not able to go down these routes that actually you want to?
right.
So then we look at what's in the way. But I think it's a very important thing to really um, engage women with that curiosity and that possibility, because life kind of can pull it out of us by this point in our lives, and we can get stuck in an unconscious belief well, this is who I am now. This is kind of how my life's going to be. And if I think if you're going to be slapped round the face by a company and booted out the door, then the least you deserve to go, well, you know what? I'm going to get something from this. I'm going to get a whole new me that I'm really excited about.
I love that. Oh my word, that's totally, yes, that's totally it. It's like the opportunity to revive yourself, to rebirth as somebody different, maybe even. Because let's face it, of course, we are completely different people from when we start our careers. Lots of people get stuck in a career, stuck for, 20, 30, 40 years, and then come out of it and go, now who am I? What am I supposed to do? I'm lost. I don't know. I don't even know what I want to be when I grow up. Because of course, now we're also living so much longer. When we get those sorts of uh, let go, let's say, redundancy packages, as you call them, yeah, it's a real blow to the ego. And also, it's very scary because you don't know what you're supposed to do next if you've been, especially if you've been there for a long period of time. And we get so comfortable. We just get so, um, even if it's not fun, even if we're not loving our job, right? We just go along and do it anyways. So yeah, a real opportunity to be able to reinvent yourself and become who maybe you were meant to be the whole time. And now you've got all this experience and all these life lessons and all these awesome things to build yourself upon and leave behind the stuff that you don't want to carry forward. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I say that, and I think, and I say that, with the genuine excitement of possibility. But of course, when the reality of being let go, and I was kind of given the boot, but it was in my late 20s, but it was still, it was a horrible experience, and again, it gives me that understanding of what goes into that, and the shame associated with it as well. So I think, the reason I think it's important that I kind of like, balance that with, I'm not sitting here all Pollyanna and saying, you know, it's all excitement and possibility. That's literally where we want to take it. That's where I support a client to get to. Obviously, they don't come to me, bursting with possibility and curiosity. That's my role, amongst other things, because the shame is totally understandable, isn't it? There is this real, sense of self that gets lost. There is a sense of failure embedded in that, even if you know that you weren't failing and that it was to do with a big reframing of things or what have you in the company. So the issue I think that can hold women back is not only the shame, but when you combine that with, as we were saying, the fact that we tend to think that we shouldn't be reaching out for support unless we're in absolute crisis. It means that we can spend a lot of time in isolation, running around in circles on our own, um, trying very hard, and as I said, doing great things to move ourselves forward. And I extend so much compassion to all the women doing that, and I have been that woman as well. But that's why I'm such a big I'm such a big supporter of the idea of support. I think I now have, this is a really recent thing for me to reach out for support. And since going through this program and getting the coaching support I've had, I'm literally now addicted to asking, reaching out. I'm like, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to see what someone else can add to this, and really seeing it as adding to all that I have, rather than if I ask for others, it's because I can't do enough myself. No, it's about enhancing what you bring. It's elevating what you're capable of. It's elevating possibilities. So it's really, I think, it's just so important for women in those positions where it can be redundancy, it can be divorce, it can be struggling in a relationship that doesn't necessarily need to come to an end, but there's a sense of, what do I need to do? All of those things, I think we as women, we need to reframe the idea that this stuff needs to be done on our own and that there's shame attached to it, because actually the more we connect with each other and the more we collaborate, the shame dissipates and we all become so much more powerful.
Oh my word, yes. Right? Like we are all women. We all know what that feels like, regardless of if it comes to us through being let go from a job or some other situation in our life. We understand what shame is by the time we're, by the time we're in our later teens, I think we're even
Yeah.
understanding what that means, right? So to carry that around with you when you're older, we know there's not really any place for that. It has no, it's an alert. Maybe that's a signal that tells us something, but we don't need to carry that with us. So our women, if they would like to work with you, do you work just in person? Do you work online? Do you do both? How can they connect with you?
I work online, so I can work with anybody literally all over the world. We just sort those time zones out. I mean, the best way to contact me is my email address, wendy@dramafreeyou.com. And I also have, I can also point people to my Substack. I write a weekly newsletter where I combine my world of cultural critique. So I kind of, look at kind of empowerment and, personal development through the lens of popular culture, culture around us. Because I think, as we know, we see ourselves in other people's stories. And I find it a really effective way to kind of talk about stuff, which sometimes people can find is potentially a little bit outside of their current zone of discourse. Maybe they're not somebody who's done that much personal development work or what have you. So go over to my Substack, which again is, if you look for either Wendy Lloyd or Drama Free You, you'll find my Substack, and it's only once a week, so I won't be bothering you too much in your inbox. But I think there's some good value in there, and I put recommendations in there as well for stuff.
Oh, that's wonderful. Awesome. Okay, women of the Women's Wellness Network, we will put all of Wendy's contact information into the comments section. And if you feel so called, or you know somebody who might, be in that position and they're looking to move forward in their life, maybe Wendy's your girl. So have a look there and reach out to her if you feel so called to. And yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. And of course, until next time, be well. And Wendy, do you have anything else you would like to pass on to our people before we say goodbye?
I just want to say a huge thank you, Tammy. Thank you so much. It was a really interesting conversation. It's lovely to kind of get your reflections on the stuff that I feel so passionate about. So thank you for that, and thank you for your support and for having me on today. Thank you.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you also. And yeah, keep doing the good work that you're doing because I think, the more support that we have out there and the more that we get together or the more that we can showcase each other and show who's available for who, the quicker that we're going to heal this world. And I see we're already on our way. So thank you again.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I look forward to seeing what you're going to be doing out in the world.
Likewise. Thank you, Tammy. Take care.
Well, thank you. Okay, I think it's all good. It's still rolling. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Sometimes I have to hit the end
I know.
live
I thought I'd
button.
stay quiet.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I think I turned the other one off too. Yes. Okay. Yeah, note takers off. Okay, awesome. Great. That was good. So how you felt like we touched upon everything you wanted to say out
Absolutely.
there?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
definitely. Because I think that's the thing. The areas, the whole thing's about support and the transforming of belief and inner beliefs and stuff. And yeah, no, I'm very happy with that. Thank you for
Wonderful.
yeah, let me kind of talk broadly about it all and put it in the context of my own personal journey. That's great.
Wonderful. I think that's the thing though. People can connect with you better when they understand, what you've done, who you are, and then, what you can help them with, I think is kind of the best example of um, your work or what you do, I guess.
Yeah,
Awesome.
no,
Yeah.
absolutely. And sorry for the confusion about the invite and the link thing. I didn't quite, I didn't really
Oh, that's
understand
okay.
because as I said, I didn't want to just I wanted to make sure I flagged up why I was inviting people. So the automatic invite thing would just have people going, well, why is she inviting me to this group? So what I did is I posted a link on my Facebook
Okay.
saying I'm going to be on this today. So I've put the link on there, and then I've also invited a bunch of people.
Wonderful.
So and because I wanted to invite relevant people to the group. But
Right.
it was good going through my contacts. Actually, I realised I know quite a lot of people who it would be great for them to be part of this group as well, and to kind of just have access to all the wonderful stuff that you're putting on there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It was lovely to meet you. And yes, please go to the live. It will be there already in the group and put your contact information in there so that people have the opportunity to connect with you.
Thank you so much. I will do that right away, so it's on there.
Okay,
Um,
wonderful. Wonderful.
Brilliant.
I,
Thank you,
okay.
Tammy.
Yeah. Enjoy your day. What time is it there right
This
now?
is this
4 o'clock?
is
Is it
It
4 o'clock?
is, what time are we? We are three o'clock.
Okay, yes, oh yes, you're 5 hours. You guys don't do daylight savings time. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yeah, yeah, we do. We're on what they call British summer time. So we
Oh,
are, so
okay.
I think we shift exactly the same as you. So our time zones with America usually stay the
Always the
same.
same.
I'm doing
Okay.
lots, my coaching program is in America. So I'm having to work with lots of Americans and lots of US time zones at the moment. So that's why I know that it's kind of like, yeah, I can coach people in Americans. There was one
Right,
other thing I was going
absolutely.
to say. What was it? I can't remember. Oh well, if it comes to me, I'll drop you a message.
Okay, okay, wonderful. Well, thank you again. And oh, did you remember?
I was no, the other thing I was just going to say, and again, I am sorry for your loss, and I hope you get some time to just, take a moment today because I think that's important, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, I will. Yes, reaching out to friends and mutual acquaintances. He was somebody I graduated high school with, and it was actually my high school boyfriend that
Wow.
told me that he was ill, and so I got to reconnect with him before he passed, which was amazing. And yeah, it's just it's just one of those things in life. It's part of life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's right. And as you said, it created an ability to reconnect again, which
right.
is a beautiful thing with
Yeah,
other people as well.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah. All right.
absolutely. Okay, I gotta run, so I'll be seeing you
Yeah.
out there in the
Me too.
waves.
Take care. Thank you. All
Bye,
right.
Wendy.
Bye. Bye.